In June 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus were ecstatic after purchasing their dream home at 657 Boulevard in the affluent suburb of Westfield, New Jersey, a beautiful 6-bedroom Dutch colonial built in 1905, where they planned to raise their 3 young children. But just days after closing the sale and before officially moving in, they received a strange, anonymous letter in the mail addressed to the new owner, which started off welcoming, but quickly turned disturbing, saying things like, 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. And as the letter continued, it asked creepy, specific questions about the family, such as, do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? And eerily claimed that the sender had already observed their children and knew their names, their birth order, and even where they played in the yard, leading the Broadduses to immediately contact the previous owners, the Woods family, who confessed that they had also received a similar letter shortly before moving out, but assumed it was just a one-time prank. However, the letters to the Broaddus family didn't stop. More came, much more sinister than the last, mocking them for renovating the home, threatening the children by name, and describing minute details of their movements and what rooms they were in, as if the writer was watching them constantly, causing the Broadduses to stop sleeping there altogether. Fearing for their safety, while local police launched an investigation that yielded no results, as the letters had no return address, no fingerprints, and were postmarked from nearby towns, and even private detectives, ex-FBI profilers, and forensic linguists hired by the Broaddus family were unable to determine who the watcher was. Paranoia consumed the family, and despite investing hundreds of thousands into the home, they never moved in, instead filing a lawsuit against the previous owners for not disclosing the earlier letter and attempting to sell the house multiple times, even proposing to demolish it and divide the lot. A request the local planning board denied. Trapping the family with a haunted house that no one wanted and a mysterious stalker who refused to be identified. Neighbors became suspects. Theories spread like wildfire. And even after a lengthy investigation, no charges were filed, leaving everyone in the neighborhood on edge, especially as the tone of the letters suggested deep, generational resentment and knowledge of the property's history, with lines like, my grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father in the 1960s. It is now my time. And in one note, the watcher even taunted, have they found what is in the walls yet? Hinting at hidden secrets, or even something physically embedded in the structure, though nothing was ever uncovered. Eventually, the Broadduses were forced to rent the home at a loss while continuing to pay the mortgage, all while living under the shadow of a psychological torment that led to sleepless nights, therapy sessions, and mental breakdowns, particularly for Maria, who was deeply affected by the idea that someone was preying on her children with chilling intent. By 2019, after 5 years of fear, financial strain, and national media attention, the Broadduses finally sold the house at a loss to a new buyer. And the watcher letters reportedly stopped, but the identity of the stalker was never uncovered. No arrests were made. And to this day, the terrifying case of the watcher remains one of the most unnerving suburban mysteries in America. Not because of ghosts or monsters, but because of the true psychological horror of being hunted in plain sight by someone hiding in the ordinary fabric of daily life, watching, waiting, and whispering from the shadows of a beautiful home that turned into a paranoid prison, proving that the scariest stories are not those we imagine, but those that actually happen where fear arrives in a plain envelope, with your name on it and a promise that you will never feel safe again.